This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Ecstatic to have Lynn Winters here joining us, Mikeyuka Energy Arts. She's a certified hypnosis, past life regression hypnosis, and Reiki master. She has a lot of titles, and she does a lot, obviously, with energy. We're excited that she's here to talk to us all about the work she does, and of course, how she really wants to help. I know you're a seeker, you want to know a lot, and here you are. You've learned a lot, and you're shedding the light of hypnosis and Reiki and so many. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you.
Well, first and foremost, would you mind just, I guess, introducing yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself today.
Okay. I've been interested in finding out, I would say, what's really going on. And that kind of has led me to studying Reiki. And then I went through all those courses and became a Reiki master. I also am certified in hypnosis. And then I wanted to go even farther to advanced hypnosis and learn about past life regression hypnosis, which is really amazing.
And we're going to get to all of that in just a moment. But first, I would love to find out more about you. Where are you from? I was reading the Finger Lakes. Give us a little of your backstory, how you even discovered this.
Well, I live in the Finger Lakes. I'm from the Finger Lakes. I've been gone for a really long time. I lived in Manhattan for a really long time.
Oh, were you
Mhm.
born and raised in the city or?
No, I was born up here and I lived there for many, many years.
Okay.
And I've always been very interested in energy and always sort of had things that were happening to me, but I poo-pooed them my whole entire life until it seemed like it got louder and I had to find out what was really going on. And I know I read a lot of books and I know that there's a lot of like spooky things out there, and I wasn't interested in anything that was negative or uh, out of the box that seemed fearful. So that led me to Reiki because I knew it was the most socially accepted energy work that I could come across. So that's why I decided to do Reiki first. And also, the other thing I liked about the Reiki training was it was accessible to everyone. There were no certifications for it or licenses for it because it was more like the old traditions of passing on the information and teaching you through attunement and information how to tap into the energy. And I liked that. So that's the Reiki past. And then with the hypnosis, I've had a lot of clients for a long time. And I had this teenage girl who had issues. And I know it's going to sound strange, but it just seemed to me in my gut that her issues were really not during this lifetime. And I'd never had past life regression or done hypnosis
Wow.
or known anything about it. Yeah, I just thought this is not making sense to me. And so I talked to her mother and I said, I know this is going to sound strange, but I don't know anything about hypnosis or past life regression. I've just heard about it. And I said, you might want to take her to someone like that and just get information and see. And so she talked to the daughter, and the daughter said yes, that she was really interested in doing that, but under one condition. She wanted to do it in my studio with myself present. And I said, okay. So they came to my studio, and the woman that they brought to do the past life regression was working. And while she was working on her to take her through the induction, I kept hearing voices in my head go, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to. And to the point where I said, okay, okay, okay. I couldn't even think about what was going on in the
Yep.
room.
Mm-hmm.
And so the past life regression of her session ended. And then I just started to do research, and I found an amazing past life regression and hypnosis teacher in Manhattan. And so I went there and studied, and it was just fascinating to me. So that's kind of how I got into it. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I know you really have been a seeker, as you say, you always want to know what's going on. And for today, let me ask, you wanted to start off by talking a little about this winter's self-hypnosis series, right?
Yes.
Tell
I
us.
have written 7 self-hypnosis dialogues or scripts, and they are for conditions that I have found to be very impacting with hypnosis in everyday life, like
Mm-hmm.
stress release and body balancing, pain management, cigarette control, insomnia relief, sobriety support,
Wow.
and anger alignment. And those are all things that we can actually individually do something about. So I've written scripts, and in each one of the scripts, there are about, I'm going to say, 3 or 4 different hypnosis techniques that are inside the dialogue that you're not going to really know about, but they are different types of
Yeah.
hypnosis techniques. And also, I'm a musician, and so I know a lot about sound.
What type of
And so
musician are you? Hold on, I missed that.
I'm a singer. I'm a singer,
Wow.
yeah. And so I've used a lot of different sound therapies inside the hypnosis as part of the back music, like different rhythms or pitches or even nature sounds have a different impact on us. Like, for example, with cigarette control, and if anyone has ever tried to quit smoking, they know it is really hard. The really, really low bass tones, like earth bass tones, are very impacting as back music for cigarette control. So each one of those CDs has or recordings has a back music that coincides with helping that specific condition.
Got
Yeah.
it. Well, I want to hear more about this. I mean, you've been doing this over 20 something years. And just to point out, you are certified in advanced hypnosis, correct? And as a Reiki
Yes.
master. So
Right.
you're someone who has certifications, who are clearly well accredited. And, I don't know if you wanted to break down, a little more about the work you're doing to our listeners and our viewers before we continue, or did you want to talk a little bit more about the recording layout and how this is all done?
Well, let me talk about the recording layout first.
Sure.
It has 2 tracks on each album. The first track has the dialogue that I wrote, recorded by myself, and it has the back music that has all the different sounds that are going to reinforce the healing of that specific condition. Then
Okay.
the second track is only the back music. Now, if you listen to the first track a lot, then when you listen to the second track, you're going to have the same impact only without the trance.
Okay.
So let's say you are really stressed out and it's the holidays and you're making a Thanksgiving dinner and you're really stressed out, but you can't put on the
Yep.
hypnosis CD. If you put it on just the track and you have listened to it frequently, then it will have the same impact on your body as it would if you had the words with it.
Got it.
Yeah, so there's 2 tracks. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that. And, let me ask, because you said the approach to each individual recording is that's pretty intense as well. There's a lot to that portion too.
Yes, there are basically 2 different types of categories of hypnotherapists that have been trained. One is where they are using exclusively direct suggestion, like don't smoke once they get into the subconscious. And that's really
Hmm.
wonderful and very impacting. And then
Yeah.
there's another type of training where you are taught the direct suggestion and you're also taught different therapies inside the subconscious when you're in there, like regression or reframing. And the second type of training is the type I've had. So I've used a lot of those inside the dialogue that you can't really tell. Just takes you kind of on a journey.
Ooh. All right. Well, we want to also learn a little more about hypnosis. Some people might even know the basics of what it is if you want to explain, right? And we're going to talk more about that, how it's helping so many transform, every way, I should say.
Yes. The way that hypnosis works, many times people come to hypnotists when they've tried everything else and they're at the last resort, but they have a really strong will, or they wouldn't be trying something that's unfamiliar to them. Um, the hypnosis, the way hypnosis works is basically there are 5 different vibrational frequencies or states of the brain. And what makes them different is, of course, the speed of the frequencies. And they are beta, alpha, theta, delta, and gamma. We are in and out of all of them throughout the day, especially the first 4 that I mentioned. Beta is when we're awake and in everyday life. And we are designed, our brain is designed to go smoothly in and out of them all the time. For example, if you are taking a really long drive and then you realize that you're already there and you don't really
Yeah.
remember the trip.
It's like, how did I get here? What did I do? Oh my goodness. Was I
Yes,
awake? That's considered a trance state, right? That's hypnosis.
yes,
Because, okay, that's a
that's
great way to
hypnosis.
describe it. Okay, perfect.
And hypnosis really is what the hypnotist does is all of the power is in the client. They used to call them subjects back in the day, but really they're client because you hold all the power. What the hypnotist does is they help you relax until you get into a state of
Mm-hmm.
alpha where it's just relaxation and imagination and your emotion. And so in order to go from the beta state into alpha and theta, or conscious to subconscious, you have to transfer into the analytical mind and get out of the analytical mind and into a state that's past that. So it's almost like your subconscious is still there and knows what's going on, but it's just choosing to allow you to do work on a deeper level without being asleep.
Wow, this is fascinating. You know, a lot, some people, like, I have to bring this up, but some people also get confused with hypnotism. They think it's more like the stage hypnotism, right? Someone going onto the stage barking like a dog. That's not true, right? You have to be, you
Right.
have to, can you explain that concept? Like, you have to be willing and wanting, and that just is not.
Yeah, it's all about your will. It's all about
Hmm.
your will. No one under any circumstance can impact your will. No one can touch it unless you give them permission to do that. And so this is really more about using relaxation
Yep.
and trusting that you can go into other dimensions and that you're safe. When we go into them all the time, just before you go to sleep, when you are not quite asleep yet, and someone would call your name and you're having images in your mind, but you're aware that you're still present.
Yep.
And if someone calls your name, you can make the decision, I'm too tired, I'm not going to get up, or I'll wake up and go to be with them. That's theta. And theta is when you're past that consciousness and past that analytical mind. And that's where hypnosis takes place.
Ah, thank you for explaining that. I appreciate it. Interesting. Because, and I also want to bring up, but you're the expert, all the benefits of hypnosis because not everybody is aware, right? You think smoking, losing weight, yes, and that's great, but there's some other deep things that we could
Yeah.
cure. I'm going to say cure. I know
Yeah.
people. Can you share that with people too?
I think that anything is curable. So
Good. Thank you for agreeing with
I
me.
do. So I think that the most important unique quality of hypnosis is that the programming of something that you want to change, whether it's smoking
Mm-hmm.
or your behavior and you don't want to be a rageaholic, it doesn't matter what it is that you want to change. Whatever the programming is programmed in your subconscious
Yep.
mind. And this is a way that you can reach your subconscious mind and actually make a different choice for your programming. And that's why it's so impacting. It's actually one of the strongest ways and most effective ways to change yourself is through hypnosis.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And I want to hear some stories as well about your hypnosis success, if you don't mind.
No,
Can I interject and ask one or two that may be beneficial to our listeners here?
of course. Well, let me just first tell a story about someone that's smoking and tried everything. This woman who really, she really almost hated that about herself, but she could not overcome it. And she tried everything. And she was at the last resort and didn't know much about hypnosis, only knew that it was possibly an option. And so once she got into the theta state of hypnosis and you put yourself into that state, the hypnotist only guides you to that.
Okay.
Um, she went into a regression of this lifetime of smoking and what was programmed in her.
Okay.
And she saw herself as a 5-year-old sitting on her father's lap, and he was a chain
Okay.
smoker, and he had the ashtray there, and he was smoking and smoking. And she picked up the cigarette and put it in her mouth, and her father laughed and took the cigarette out of her mouth and said, "You're too young to smoke." And so she realized from seeing that image that number one, her father laughing was a positive reinforcement to smoking. And number two, you can smoke later when you're an adult, but you can't smoke when you're younger. And so when she had that information, she had so much more willpower and less guilt and more self-empowerment to make a choice of who she really wanted to be today. And she quit smoking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I just love that this, my mom, unfortunately, she's passed, but when she was alive, what happened was she tried hypnosis, didn't work, but turns out it's not that. We were all forcing her to stop
Mm,
smoking,
yeah.
and she felt pressure from us. And then we learned through, well, she really didn't want to do it, right? It's that you have to be willing to do something. And she really wasn't ready. Up until her dying week, she was still smoking, and she died of lung cancer. Not to say it was 100% from that. It's genetic and smoking, but that's, the type of person she was. She
Right.
really wasn't ready.
I totally hear that. And what I think is the positive of that is the strength of the will.
Yeah.
We have a will that can bring us anything and any cure, anything that we want. And it's okay to um, choose whatever you choose. It's okay. There's no wrong and there's no failure. As you said, just not ready.
No, no, absolutely. All right. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
Um,
that's okay.
do we want to still continue on more hypnosis? Do you want to go to the Reiki? I mean, there's a lot to you and to your notes, so I just want to make sure we're covering everything for you, obviously. And yeah, there's a lot to get to.
Well, I would like to tell you another story about hypnosis
Sure.
that I experienced. A woman came to me because she felt that she was addicted to Diet Coke, and she just had to have it. And she couldn't stop it, and it had been going on for years. And she had tried everything. She had a therapist, and she thought that she would try hypnosis. And so when we did hypnosis, and she went back into her life again, and the causes of certain things, she realized that she was had been abused by a
Oh,
relative in her lifetime,
wow.
that when she drank the Coke or soda or whatever, um, that she felt like she was protecting herself.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my
So there's a
goodness.
lot that people come to hypnosis for a symptom, but they think that it's the cause. But oftentimes you'll find that the cause of it is something else, and you'll find that in your subconscious usually.
Oh my goodness. That's a breakthrough and a half. Wow.
Yeah.
And the things that we harbor and that we are don't realize we do. It's funny. I have this weird craving, just as random, for vinegar my whole life. I don't know what it is. Now I'm craving it right now. My mouth's watering. Like, and I drink it almost every day. Like I water it
Wow.
down with ice and water. I wonder what the heck's that's triggered to. As a child, my mom did the same thing. But as the child, I would ask the doctor, mom's like, is something wrong? My daughter likes vinegar, but so do I. And they said, oh, if anything, it's good for your blood. It thins your blood. But I have a deep craving. I don't know what I'm connected to. Maybe we could dive into that one day if I do a
Yeah.
private session with you. I don't.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm craving vinegar to the point where I don't have vinegar. What am I going to do the rest of the day?
Right.
I'm sorry to bring it up,
No,
but
I think it's good. I think that that's exactly what it's showing, is that we have subconscious program that we don't know about. And even just talking about these things, the fact that you're having that
craving.
reaction
Hmm.
is is something to explore.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Sorry.
And that's okay. That's what I do.
And what other type of things are you helping with hypnosis? Any other good stories?
A lot of good stories.
I'm sure.
Let me just think for a second. I would say that the one of the most impacting parts about hypnosis in a general way is, and I love this part, is that there seems to be some kind of a divine selection that happens when people are
Oh,
hypnotized, whether it's a regular hypnosis or whether it's a past life regression hypnosis.
okay.
And if you think about it, and whether you believe in a past life regression or not, but if someone's having past life regression
Mm-hmm.
hypnosis, and many, many people do, and if you believe in past life regressions or just past lives, then there's a lot of past lives and a lot of moments in each one of those lives. Why is it that when I'm doing a past life regression with someone, that someone or something selects a specific scene to show them of all the lifetimes they had and of all the moments in even one lifetime? It always seems to be divinely selected, so that it helps them witness something that will help them in this lifetime, something that might be unfinished. And another thing about it that I think is a beautiful thing is that it seems to always be presented in a way that the individual can handle.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's in a way where they are witnessing something like it's a movie, or sometimes they may be with other people in their scene that they're seeing, and they'll recognize the eyes of that person, and it could be the person that's now their mother or something. So that part is really fascinating to me.
That is fascinating. I love this. Oh, and by the way, when you're doing these sessions, can we do them like this in person, like via virtual, like talking, or like Zoom on phone call? How does it work to be hypnotized
I
these days?
I always do hypnosis in person because I just want to make sure that I'm with them and can reassure them if they feel afraid, or also if they are having a hard time relaxing, I can help you relax even more. And so I like to do those in person. I do Reiki, distant Reiki, and in-person Reiki, and they're
Ah,
both really effective. That's another thing that's very amazing, the
oh,
impact that distant Reiki can have on someone. Yeah.
oh my goodness. I love it. And speaking of Reiki, not everybody even is aware of this energy healing modality technique that is helping so many. And it's funny, I learned about it. Not funny. It's unfortunate. My mom was dying of cancer, but I saw this on like a Sloan Kettering New York City hospital website, how this thing is. And then after that, my mom never got to take advantage of it, but I hear so many amazing stories how it helps people heal in so many different ways. Yeah.
It really does. It's amazing. Reiki is an energy source from God consciousness. And in order to learn Reiki, most Reiki practitioners, there are 4 and 5 levels of Reiki training to be a master. Most practitioners are level 1 and 2. You don't have to be a master to train, to be a practitioner, but you do have to be a Reiki master to teach it
And
and
you're
to,
teaching others
yeah,
too. So, I
to give
mean,
the attunements. And so the way it works when you study Reiki, Reiki level 1 is where you learn how to administer Reiki to
wow.
yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And Reiki number 2 is where you learn how to administer it to someone else. So if you're going to take a Reiki training of level 1 and 2, the master will teach you all the techniques of some symbols and hand positions and all about the energy source and where it comes from and how to read it. And then you will be attuned. So the Reiki master who's already been attuned to a certain level of vibrational frequency of Reiki level 1 will create a ceremony, and it takes about an hour, but it's really intense. And people are in a circle, and you will administer those Reiki energies to that person and put it into them, and they feel it, and they will have that Reiki attunement for the rest of their soul's journey, if they can access or not.
Well, thank you for sharing that. We also just have 2 more minutes left in the show. I hate to, oh my goodness, but there's still so much that I want to talk to you about. Um, and there's so many people that you're helping out there. We have to kind of sum things up for today. So how did you kind of want to end off?
I guess I would say that 2 things. One, anything and everything is possible. And try something that you've never tried before, because it can be just what you're looking for.
Beautiful. And in our closing today, you say, well, know that anything is possible, and you really are a firm believer in that. And let me ask, with your training, with your work, what do you love most about the work you're doing? What would you say?
I would say what I love the most is that it's participating in life energy, and it's unlimited. And the more I learn about it, the more trust I have in it. And I want everyone to be able to know how powerful they are.
Mm, beautiful. And you also have your Reiki wisdom circle, right? Could you tell us about that?
It's a wisdom circle that about 12 people come, and you sit in a chair, and it's the first 15 minutes. People can just check in and let me know where they are. And then I do Reiki on everyone. and for about an hour, and then they can also give their feedback at the end. And the wonderful thing about a Reiki wisdom circle, the reason I call it a wisdom circle is because it helps you tap into your own wisdom that you may have forgotten that you have.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being here, for joining us today. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And tell us the website, how we can contact you.
It's Keuka Energy Arts. That's KEUKA energyarts.com.
Thank you so much. Pleasure getting to know you and looking forward to the next time we get to connect, okay? Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You also.
Bye.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.